The very first step you're going to want to take to install all of your sound banks to make sure UVI Workstation is working correctly is to get UVI Portal up and configured on your computer. So UVI Portal is going to give you access to all of their store so you can get any of those sound banks that you want to purchase, but it's also going to help you configure where your sound banks are stored and allow you to update those sound banks and to update UVI Workstation itself. If you go to My Library, you'll see the things that you've purchased, and you'll see the updates available if it's something that you've purchased and you're running a version that is not the most current version. You can just click Update and it will go ahead and update the app or any of the sound banks. If you happen to own any of the sound banks but you don't have them installed, you have the option to install them from here. It's going to download those sound banks and install them directly into your selected folder for your UVI sound banks. Now you'll notice by looking, you're probably wondering, doesn't look like he's got a lot of sound banks installed. Well, that's because I've disconnected my UVI folder on purpose just to show you how easy it is to move things around, and you can choose the location you're going to store them. Because a lot of us, if you're not working on a laptop, you might have it on an external hard drive, or heck, you might have it on an external hard drive even if you're working on a laptop. These sound banks are pretty big. So right now, if I open up UVI Workstation itself, I can actually browse and find the sound banks individually if you want to. I can double click and open the browser, and then I can browse my devices. I can browse my hard drive. You'll see I've got a separate samples hard drive right there. And if I do that and I go into my UVI folder on my samples hard drive, there's all the UFS files. Those UFS files are the UVI libraries. So if I open one of them up like JP Legacy and I try to mount it, I can pick my preset. We'll go into that in a bit. And there it goes, and it works. So that's one way to do it, but I would like to see all of those mounted and ready to go when I start the app. And of course, doing that is going to be possible by configuring UVI Portal and telling it where those sound banks are. So what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and open up UVI Portal once again. You'll go to your settings and you're going to go to preferences. And from there, you'll see the folders in which your UVI sound banks can be installed. So if you install them to the default location, they're showing up. But if you want to move them around, put them on a different hard drive, here's where you do it. So I can go ahead and add a folder to the path that it searches every time it opens up UVI Workstation. So I'll go to my samples hard drive, UVI, and hit open. And I'm going to include that whole folder. So it's now going to scan and install there as well. So if I have that checked off, that's the default place it's going to install to. So right there, my Soundbanks paths are now all correct. I'm all good, and I'm all set and ready to roll. So when I go back to my library, you'll see if I quit and start again, it will scan that, and it will now show up as having those Soundbanks installed. So there we go. I've got it opened up again. I'll go to my library and look at that. Now I've got update and all of these are installed. Yep, it's scanning and finding all of those different libraries. And the great thing is that that's going to automatically propagate to UVI Workstation as well. The next time I open up UVI Workstation, those are going to automatically show up as options. If I double click and open that browser, you'll see the sound banks on the left side. Look at that. My sound banks are already there and they're all mounted. I can go to any one of them and just start picking presets. So that's the great thing, is that you can move those files around to where you want to. If you start to amass a large collection of sound banks, you can have them on an external hard drive. And nowadays, external SSDs are very powerful and very fast. So if you don't want to bog down your main hard drive with that, you can have a nice tiny little blade SSD that just plugs in with a USB cable, and that's your entire library of sounds with you anytime you go out to perform.